My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Folks, welcome back. Today, zooming in from beautiful Connecticut, we have a very experienced real estate entrepreneur. Ed Mathews is a syndicator. He's a developer. He's a flipper. He's a very interesting guy because his previous career was in tech startups, a lot of Silicon Valley type stuff, but he has definitely fallen in love with real estate. And did I mention he's also a podcaster? So Ed, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Thanks, Dave. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. So give us a little snapshot. We're kind of towards the middle of April 2025 as we're recording this. What does real estate and real estate investing look like for Ed Mathews today? What do you do?
Historically, I started out as a flipper and bought multifamily. So we would flip a couple houses and buy a multi, flip a couple houses, buy a multi, and built up a portfolio. And as that evolved and cash flow really kicked in, I became a multifamily investor. And that's actually what set me free from my day job, which was, as you said, I was a sales and marketing exec with a handful of Silicon Valley companies and software and services. And so lately, given the compression of the cap rates, we have bought fewer multifamilies and actually have started buying land. And the land was with the intent of building multifamily, but in the interim, I've discovered things like cell tower ground leases and solar farm ground leases. And so we've been doing that on a project, and that has blossomed into a pretty cool project, which we can absolutely talk about here.
Perfect. So let me see if I'm understanding this correctly, Ed. So you're getting into the development business, and for a lot of people, that revolves around wasting a lot of time waiting for permits and rezonings and all this kind of stuff.
So true.
You are doing something a little bit different. You're saying, hey, how can I create some cash flow on this property while we're waiting for all that stuff? So did you say cell towers and solar farms? That's kind of what you're focusing on.
Correct.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. That's fascinating.
Okay, so here in the U.S., obviously, there's a huge push for alternative energy. And, most people think of that in terms of, windmill farms and huge solar farms out in the Midwest where there's a whole lot of land. Here in here in Connecticut, same problem, right? Still have human beings who require electricity.
A lot of them, and pretty high density. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of us here. And so we, the state government has made it very interesting and has kind of streamlined the way to being able to provide these alternative energy solutions.
Yeah.
And so we were working through some development plans on a 58-acre parcel I have not too far from my office, actually.
Okay.
And one of the things we found was that we can only use so much of the land for actual real estate development. And so it left about a 10-acre parcel that was unreachable. And so we decided to get creative. And a partner of mine, Greg Andrade, who does a lot of property management here in Connecticut, suggested we look into solar farms. And so I did. And we struck up a relationship with a local company and have built a strategy around finding properties on three-phase electrical grids and enabling, in this case, it'll be a 5-megawatt battery and a whole bunch of panels for the next 20 years. And it's great for us in that it's a ground lease, so it's a triple net ground lease. So we really, other than a very small liability insurance premium, we really don't have any costs. It's mailbox money for us. And so that, in lieu of being able to acquire multifamilies, has been something that's very interesting to us.
Very cool. So you got 58 acres. 10 of those acres are pretty much unusable for what you want to do with them.
Right.
So instead of just letting them fallow or go to waste, you're going to have somebody else put up a solar panel farm, for lack of a
Yep.
better term, and you're not going to have to come out of pocket anything for that because you're not getting into the business. You're just leasing out the land to them,
Correct.
triple net. So
Yep.
they're responsible for everything on that, and you're just getting a check.
Correct. For the next 20 years. And we even gave them the option to extend for another 10 years after that. So, yeah,
That is very, very cool. So is that up and operational, or is it just in the process of them building
uh, we are in the permitting phase. So it's going to take about 6 months till we can break ground. But,
it?
we've
Till
already,
till they can break ground.
till they break ground. Yeah, I say
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was the
yeah.
royal we.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting model and something that I've driven by them. I mean, there are solar farms all over the place here in the
Yeah.
Northeast US, and it didn't occur to me that actually somebody owns the ground underneath it, and now I'm one of those people with my partner.
Very cool. So Ed, I was mistaken because I was kind of thinking, okay, this could be a temporary stopgap to create some income for you guys while you're going through the permitting to eventually do a development deal. But no, this is ideal because it's a 20-year thing
Yeah.
minimum. So it's not something that you're going to get into willy-nilly and throw
No,
up some cell towers temporarily, then take them down.
correct.
It's got to be long term.
Yeah, so it's something we spent a lot of time with our town planner and the planning and zoning folks to kind of think through, and we realized that unless local laws change substantially, that this land was going to be unusable.
So
And
give me an idea what makes it unusable for construction in your particular case there.
so this property is in a rural area, and so there are open space and conservation regulations around, keeping the forests green, right? And
Mhm.
so, part of this is we're going to end up probably donating about 20 acres to the local conservancy. Um,
Of the 58 acres,
Correct.
making it skinny. 10 acres to
Uh,
the solar thing, 20 acres to the conservancy. Now you're left with like
and
20 acres.
and about 9 lots, possibly 8 to 9 lots, which we're in the approval process now to for single family houses.
Hmm.
And so, we're making kind of an enclave with dog walking and dog parks and walking trails. And, this property abuts about, I want to say about 3,500 acres of conservation land. So,
I
we're
see.
contributing to that as well. And we're also helping to lower, I don't know how much, but lower the electrical rates here locally in the state of Connecticut.
Oh, that's very cool. So it's all about being creative to make things work.
Highest and best use. Exactly right.
Yeah, highest and best use plus, keeping the municipality happy with what they want to do and still being able to have a profitable real estate deal, even
Yeah.
though you've got a lot less land at the end of the day to work with.
Yes, but it's fine because the we knew early on how much of that was going to be we were going to be able to develop.
Hmm.
So that left us about 28 to 30 acres of land that either the conservancy was interested in, the neighbors were interested in, or we were going to hold on to a chunk like that 10 acres. And
Yeah,
so yeah, it seems like we've created a win-win-win
I think so.
so
That's
far.
yeah, I hope so. I hope it works beautifully. So, understanding this, moving ahead, is that modifying how you're looking at doing future development deals?
It is because here especially in the Northeast where I like to invest, I mean, we have properties down south, but probably not going to hold those for very long. Those are kind of 3 to 5 year holds. And so, the lion's share of our properties are here in Connecticut and New England.
Okay.
So right now, multifamily doesn't pencil here.
Hmm.
And unless you are finding an off-market deal with a really problematic property, which they're out there, and we find one every once in a while, but it's not enough to grow our
Yeah.
portfolio the way we want to from a cash flow perspective, because we're cash flow players, not appreciation players.
Hmm.
And this was just one other way we could, initially this was, hey, we're going to go buy land and build multifamily and know that we're going to hold that for 20 years. So it's okay that it won't cash flow for the first couple of years, 3 years.
Hmm.
And we discovered this as part of that strategy. Like I said, my friend Greg had said, "Hey, you're not looking at this right." And usually, when people that are smarter than me tell me that I'm not looking at something right, I tend to listen, and it usually works out.
No, that is fantastic, Ed. Okay, so walk me through the rest of the development. You're going to end up with 20 some acres that you can actually develop. What are you guys going to build on that? Are you
Mhm.
going to hold it? You say you're cash flow players. Are you doing build to rent, or are you going to sell some of it off? What does that
We're
look
going to
like?
sell it. Yeah. So this part of it, the development part, we're going to flip. Either one of two things will happen. Either we will get into the home building business, which I think that's plan B. Plan A would be to uh, put the road in.
Yeah.
We're limited to 1,250 feet of road. And so that limits the number of lots we can have. And also, each lot needs to be at least 2 acres.
Mhm.
So we're going to probably put in about 8 lots, 8 lots for sure, actually. 9 is a potential. And so we'll install the road, we'll install the stormwater management and all the things that go along with that. We'll then turn that road over to the town to let them manage it because we built to
Mhm.
their spec. And with each one of these houses, we'll either sell to a developer who'll come in and build those 8 houses, 9 houses, or we'll do it ourselves.
Got
Um,
it. Got
yeah.
it. Okay. And then moving ahead, what are you planning to do to build the portfolio and create more cash flowing assets?
Well, I'll tell you, if the solar thing works as well as it appears to be working, here's the cool thing about solar, right? There are no toilets, there are no 2 a.m. phone calls, there's no human beings that I have to manage expectations and handle customer calls and all that. Not that I dislike doing that. It's just if
One
I don't
less
have
headache.
to do that and make better money, I'm certainly gonna look at it.
Yeah.
And so it's a good way to contribute to the community and frankly grow our cash flow, which is the end game. I don't really care how many units I hold, right? I care how much cash flow I have that I get to keep every month.
Yeah.
And the whole plan here is, a little side story. My wife comes from very strong stock. She, the women in her family live to be well into their 90s, and a lot of them live to be over 100. And the Mathews and O'Brien side of the family, which is my part of this, is they usually the Grim Reaper comes for us sometime in the mid to late 80s. So my wife's gonna outlive me by 10, 15, hopefully 20 years.
Most
And
of our wives are going to outlive us by a good chunk, but yeah.
correct, correct. And but that is something that drives me because I need to create that cash flow so that
Mhm.
frankly, my 2 girls who are now young adults, they won't have to be financially responsible for their mom. That's my job,
Yeah.
and so I'm making sure that the cash flow that we have. Whether she decides to hold on to it or sell it all off on and do what here in the States is called stepped up basis, which means she sells without capital gain.
Mm.
Um, that's up to her, but at least I want to give her a pile of assets that cash flow so that she has options,
She
when
doesn't have to worry about it.
I
Yeah,
go to
one
the
way or the
great
other.
beyond and, make sure that everything's good to go up in heaven.
So, Ed, as we're kind of wrapping up the conversation, I'm curious because you spent a lot of time in Silicon Valley and with
Yep.
startups and in the tech world. You understand that way better than most of the rest of us, that's for sure. Uh, I'm sure you're still involved a bit with that, but it sounds like real estate is by and far your main focus. Would that be fair to say?
It is, yeah. I mean, I
Why is that?
realized about mid-career that if I wanted to break free and be able to have time freedom, which is something that's very important to me, especially as I've progressed and gotten older, right?
Mhm.
That working a W-2 was not going to get me where I needed to go unless A, there was a side hustle that was producing cash flow that set me free, or B, I needed an IPO, which unfortunately I was blessed with both. So it gave me some flexibility. And so um, back in 2008, I read, the Purple Bible, Rich Dad,
Yeah.
Poor Dad. A good friend of mine gave it to me, and it took me about 3 years to ratchet up the courage to buy my first property. But real estate was something that I viewed as, a path to freedom. was something I was passionate about. I enjoy building things. I enjoy building little teams. I enjoy building companies. I enjoy building houses and making, how ugly buildings beautiful so that the neighborhood
Yeah.
is better. And, that gives me gratification. And oh, by the way, I get to make money at it. So it's
Mhm.
fun and, lucrative as well. And so, real estate was just a kind of a natural progression with the way that my brain works in terms of being a builder. And so that was, clearly a big draw. And, the fact that I was able to create a business model that works for my family, that was the cherry on top.
Beautiful. Ed, if people want to connect with you and find out more about what you're up to, where should they go?
Yeah, so our website is probably the best way, clarkst.com, clarkstreet.com. You can always email me. I'm ed@clarkstreet.com, clarkst.com. And I'm a cheap date. I'll buy anyone a cup of coffee, virtual or in person. And if you have questions, I am happy to help. And, if I don't know the answer, pretty good chance I know somebody that does.
Just out of curiosity, where does Clark Street come from?
It was the first building I ever bought. I bought a four family on Clark Street, and in East Hartford, Connecticut. So,
Nice,
yeah,
nice backstory. Ed, thanks so much for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun.
my pleasure, Dave. Good to see you.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.